All right, everyone. Dr. Sticks here to take care of all of your news needs. Starting off today with Marianne Williamson. It's hilarious. She dropped out of the race after she came in second, in the South Carolina primary for the Dems. She came in ahead of Dean Phillips, who had been astroturfed a little bit as well. He's going to be a real problem for Joe. And I speculated, I diagnosed the situation. That's not going to happen. Joe Biden is running unopposed. He's the incumbent. It doesn't matter if a lot of Democrats don't want him to run because there's no real alternative. Maybe when RFK Jr. was in the race, there was always the possibility that that would cause a problem for little Joe. Marianne Williamson, though, the Crystal Grandma, who blocked me on Twitter, by the way, some time ago, who I successfully community noted on several occasions, actually, she never had a chance. She's all over the place. Like, she goes on Timcast. Timcast IRL, by the way. I was on there. Great time. Gets humiliated, basically, because she can't answer basic questions. She's a fruitcake. Literally a fruitcake. She's the sort of old lady that you would expect. She has a bunch of, quartz crystals everywhere and consults the tarot cards to determine whether she should go shopping today or whether it's an inauspicious day, and she's got to check her moon chart and maybe she'll go tomorrow or the day after. That is not the sort of person that you want to be the commander-in-chief. And so even among Democrats, she is a leftoid. She has far left views, so she fits in with the cringe fringe of the left wing of the party. But that's not enough votes. Even among Democrats, she was always an outsider, a pariah, sort of trying to style herself as being like a female Bernie Sanders, but it didn't really go over well. She received 3% of the vote in South Carolina, I think, or something like that, 2%. Some tiny number. At least to her credit, she saw the writing on the wall, so at the very least we know she's not just trying to embezzle money like Nikki Haley is probably doing right now, who also additionally has absolutely no chance. She's going to get crushed in the caucus tonight because she's not on the ballot. The actual voting that awards the delegates, Trump is the only person still running that's actually there, so I have a feeling that he's not going to have too much of a problem winning. What we're going to see tonight, and I've decided not to bother live streaming it. It's useless. It's pointless. I'll wait till South Carolina. I'll talk about it the day after. What we're going to see is the juxtaposition where Nikki Haley loses to none of the above and Trump manages to win, and what that margin is. I think in the 70s or 80s, somewhere around there. Poor Williamson. She never really got off the ground. The only person that kind of did was RFK Jr. To his credit also, again, he's a liberal. He's very far left on guns. He's very far left on environmentalism. Well, NIMBY environmentalism in name only. Who I would never vote for, but to his credit, he saw that he couldn't win the Dem primaries and said, well, instead of humiliating myself, I'll just go it alone. I'll have an independent candidacy swing directly to the general election and then pontificate. Getting, by the way, attention in the process. Williamson stays in. Has to realize she's got no shot. No reasonable, sane person would presume that a candidate polling at 3 or 4% nationally is going to make waves. If anything, you're simply there because it'll look good on your Wikipedia page. Well, here's Marianne Williamson, who formed a church or a series of churches at one time, and that's her claim to fame. Got him solvent. Decided to take up hippie mysticism and then run for the presidency. Huzzah! Here's a couple of her political views for those that care. She wants to be in history. She doesn't care if she's just a footnote there. She doesn't care if it's a stub article in the history of the United States. I think she just wanted to literally be there more than anything else. So it was a doomed run. Any reasonable person understood it was a doomed run. Just like with Dean Phillips. Now, why the fuck are you still in? There's no point to it. It's going to be Biden v. Trump. Unless Biden or Trump croaks, or there's a brokered GOP convention, which is possible, or Biden at the convention tries to mint someone and effectively just hand the crown to somebody else as a quasi-incumbent, handpicked by Joe Biden, which is also a possibility, although not a particularly likely one. I think he does want to run. I think in the second term, by the way, Joe Biden might actually defy his handlers some and say, well, what the fuck are you going to do with me? I don't have to run for re-election again. Probably be a real bizarre 4 years if Joe Biden is reelected, and not necessarily in the greatest of ways. It's going to be Trump v. Biden. Unless those circumstances, Trump will reface Joe Biden. Trump will presumptively win based on the polling that I'm seeing. It's 10 times better than it was in 2016 and not even close to what it was in 2020. Joe Biden gets his comeuppance, whether he wins or loses, but he will be the nominee. Joe Biden is effectively already the nominee. He's an incumbent. Incumbents don't typically even have to suffer through primaries. Look at the Trump treatment. Trump is now riding up towards 80 points nationally. He's going to crush Haley in South Carolina. That's officially it. Her political career, by the way, will be decimated. She's got no chance of re-entering politics in any meaningful fashion unless some neocon wins in the future and says, well, she did a good job as a TDS-suffering UN ambassador. I think I'll get her in as Secretary of State, or some catastrophically lunatic bullshit from the Republican Party like that. It'll be Trump v. Biden, regardless of what happens. Haley is going to lose. Dean Phillips is going to lose. Marianne Williamson, at the very least, isn't embezzling a bunch of money like Haley. But think about what her campaign represented. Her campaign was basically, I disagree with Biden, but not even on issues where a person should disagree with him. I want to go further left. A leftoid. Far left, like Geek Squad left. That's Marianne Williamson in a nutshell. She also is incapable of taking criticism. Like a Tim flummoxed, she couldn't even answer his fucking basic ass questions. She blocks me over very pedestrian comments that I made on some of her stuff and then basically calling her out. And she's done this to a bunch of people. She can't take the heat, so she should get out of the kitchen. And she decided to indeed do so. So she can go back. Now she can consult the oracle or the tarot cards or whatever. Find out why she lost, get her shit together. At the very least, though, she's like a perpetual also-ran anyway, who's like ever-present in politics, but always in the background, sort of on the sidelines. You've noticed this. For years and years, Marianne Williamson has been successfully grifting like this. I will give her one thing. At the very least, you're not an uninteresting person. It's fun because, you know, you have weird views, you're a weird person, and so it's infinite fodder for memes and shit like that. I mean, you are basically the face of part of the Democratic Party off their goddamn rocker. I'm surprised she didn't get more support. I think that she was expecting like the AOC and Bernie voters to coalesce around her and say, well, I'm the left-wing candidate. The problem is you're not Bernie Sanders. You're not as well-spoken. You don't have nearly the name recognition. And I don't even like Bernie Sanders. He's from my state here. Well, originally from New York. He's actually a Brooklynite, if I remember correctly, but he pretends to be a native-born Vermonter. Despite never working a day in his life other than some rough carpentry, he got fired from that job, and then he got a role as a teacher, became the mayor of Burlington, and the rest was political history for the last fucking half-century. Bernie is just different from a Williamson. Williamson expected, I've got the left-wing message and I'm female. So that'll make me stand out. I think that part of her genuinely thought she had a chance. Well, you didn't, and so you dropped out. Fucking good riddance. Sad that I won't be able to make more Crystal Grandma memes with regards to the Dem primaries. Again, she is the face of part of the Democratic Party. Absolutely goddamn insane. That's about all. Peace out.